Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is a special one. He's a 4-time men's physique Olympia champ. He's been the topic of a lot of controversy on Instagram, and I was very happy that he reached out to me. We've had our differences in the past, and we're here to mend some, I guess you could say, some broken vases, so to speak, and find out exactly what's going on in his mind, because we really haven't heard his side of the story. It's my pleasure to welcome Jeremy Buendia to the show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's been quite some time since I've been able to come on here and talk a little and do very many interviews at all. I've been pretty quiet as far as the media aspect of the industry the last several years of my career, and I've been just kind of sticking to my own and doing my stuff on my own social media platforms. So I'm glad to be able to come out here and talk about what's been going on this last week. Nah, not even the last week. What's kind of been going on the whole time since the beginning of the men's physique division, and then how it all has come about to this week.
Now, you've had some adversarial, relationships with people recently. I mean, we had a run-in a couple months back about the Boston Lloyd video that was up there, and it probably wasn't handled the way either one of us should have handled it. I'm not one to, I don't hold grudges. I don't get pissed off at people. I believe that everyone deserves to be heard, and I think that all feuds can be put to rest at some point. I think that's why you reached out to me and said, hey, Dave, I want to come on the show and tell people what happened. So just in let's recap a little bit. Antoine Vaillant put up a video of himself guest posing at a show. He came out in men's board shorts. He pulled the shorts off eventually. He did some guest posing, and it seemed like you took offense to the video. Explain to us the synthesis and maybe the backstory on this whole thing, because I don't think a lot of people know where this all came from.
Yeah, you guys, honestly, when I saw the Antoine, I don't know Antoine. I've never seen Antoine before. Don't know him personally. So when I originally saw the post, it wasn't even anything personal towards him. It was just the fact that another bodybuilder was, again, poking fun at men's physique. And I get the guest posing thing, putting on a show and doing whatnot. But this kind of goes back to the origination of men's physique being the joke of the industry. And, we've been around for almost, I think, 7-8 years now, launched in 2011, I believe. And even when I was bodybuilding in 2011, the division was a mockery. I, even as a bodybuilder, couldn't stand seeing these guys in board shorts backstage.
Right.
And the division's grown and evolved. I decided to make my jump from bodybuilding to men's physique because I saw the opportunity for myself. I knew my frame was a better fit for this division. And I saw the potential of where it could potentially go as far as this new era of bodybuilding with the social media platforms and the more mainstream market coming to the forefront. And, over the years, it's always been a mockery. It's always been a joke. It's always been men's physique guys aren't adequate. They aren't bodybuilders. They're just these skinny guys that don't work hard, that train. And that's besides the point. I don't care. You guys the bodybuilders are a lot bigger than us. They lift heavier. They've been doing a lot longer than we have. It's just the fact that it's just constant disrespect that I've felt, whether it's coming from, sitting next to other bodybuilders during interviews, getting poked at because we don't have legs, or saying we don't train hard, saying that we, classic physique guys don't, work out all week. It's not just my division. It's just how the divisions have been segregated because of those new divisions.
Let me stop you before you continue. I just want to ask you a question about this. Do you feel because maybe you came from bodybuilding that now that you went over to men's physique that you were being disrespected? Because in your mind, I'm sure you're still thinking, I'm a bodybuilder. I train my legs, I train my whole body. I've competed in bodybuilding. Now I'm over here and I feel like maybe I'm not being validated as much as I would if I was a bodybuilder. Whereas maybe a guy who might have started in men's physique maybe would not have been taking such offense to maybe some of the things that were said initially.
I purposely toned down. Connie Rambaugh didn't have me train my legs the last 6 weeks of Olympia prep because they were getting too big.
Yeah.
I just posted a video yesterday of me like in my shorts rolled up where, I feel like if I were to make a transition, I could probably hang in there with classic guys.
No, I'm saying you do it. You are a bodybuilder. I'm saying you do.
Currently not from the back the way I've been training. I'd be able to hang in there with those guys. I know that, but from the front, I mean, I feel that my physique is where it could be, hanging in there with the top 15 guys in classic physique.
Yeah.
But as far as me taking offense to it, it's just the nonstop. We've never gotten any of the respect that we deserve. It goes all the way down to, little pokes that have been made on RX about, even on Generation Iron, about guys making fun of the division. Why make fun of a division that's done so much for the industry in the past 8 years? Trust me, I mean, I was there before and I saw how small those shows were. I was there when Spectrum Fitness Production was at the Crest Theater in downtown Sacramento, a very small venue. And now they have 4 different shows in Sacramento spread all the way across. When Muscle Contest was just at Culver City, Veteran Memorial Auditorium, now they're all the way across in Las Vegas. They're everywhere international, and it's grown. Yeah. And if you go to these shows and you see the foundation of the NPC right now is men's physique and bikini. That's what's bringing in the numbers. That's what's putting the people in the seats. That's what's drawing the attention in. And the thing that bothers me is and it's not even all bodybuilders. A lot of bodybuilders respect the division now. A lot of them do, and I have a lot of guys that are standing behind me, but it's the ones that don't quite get it and aren't quite making it yet and are still stuck in their own ways that are getting upset with the physique guys because there's more ground for us to stand on now because the division has provided so much. I mean, think about it. I was talking to a promoter yesterday on the phone. He said he went to a show this weekend. There was only one bodybuilder that competed in the whole show. So imagine if that was a pro bodybuilding show and they only had one open bodybuilder. There's no men's physique or no bikini competitors there. Then there's no sales. There's no BC cars bought. There's no TANs bought. There's no ticket sales that are made. And there's not enough money to pay for a venue. Right. How are those pro bodybuilders going to still get the $10,000 prize money?
Right. No, I see where you're coming from. But also obviously, if there wasn't men's physique and classic, there would be more bodybuilders too. So we can make the reverse argument. Yeah. But having said that, you make good points. Okay. Let's fast forward to what happened this past 2 weeks. Antoine does this guest posing, and you don't know Antoine. I know Antoine. He's a goofball. All right. He likes to do funny, sensationalistic stuff.
I had no idea what it was.
If you watch I watched it. I even had a couple people who don't even, like the producer here who doesn't even watch bodybuilding. He watched it. He really wasn't mocking men's physique as much as he was mocking himself in the video. But something really rubbed you the wrong way about it. What irked you so much you went on that, a very, very aggressive, campaign. And you have a crazy social media following. I mean, you got 2.5 million followers on Instagram. That's pretty impressive,
So what really upset me was, it wasn't the fact I posted Antoine's posing routine. All I said was men's physique still the mockery. And I didn't really say much after that. And then I made a little rant about it, nothing directed to anybody individually. And then I woke up the next morning and I saw that he reposted everything on his page, my rant on it, and he was making that face or whatnot. So I started reading through the comments. And, there was 500, 600 comments. I woke up in the morning and there's pro bodybuilders in there that were saying, and most of the comments are directed at me. So it's hard for me not to look at that and say, okay, this post isn't geared towards me. And Antoine knew that, but yet he's allowing all these comments. It's not his place to be my protector or whatnot, but, from a social media platform, for me personally, if I see somebody get torn apart on my page or make something disrespectful, I delete that stuff because it's not going to be on my page. I'm not going to let somebody badmouth somebody else or make false rumors or make claims of stuff that are illegal. Like that's personal stuff. This is bodybuilding for me. I'm not going to try to hit anybody personally, and that's what I'll touch up on. I did make a personal statement to Antoine. I got exposed, and I owe him an apology for that. But what I got mad was the fact that I saw Sergio Olivia commenting on there and saying some pretty fucked up stuff in regards to the division, and I know that stuff was directed at me because all the comments were directed at me. I know Sergio. I know him and I had a run in the past before Olympia last year where he was on my ass big time. Me and Sergio, I thought were friends. Like, he was supposed to come up and work out with me the week before he went off on me. So I called him out. I'm like, yo, why are you saying this stuff? He goes, well, you think this, and this. This is what made my original video in the Philippines. Right. So me and him had an exchange of words back and forth. And then next thing you know, we're backstage of Olympia during press conference. He comes up wanting to shake my hand. And I'm just like, why are you trying to shake my hand? Like, lightweight shake his hand. And then he makes some sort of passive statement, kind of apologizing during an Olympia press conference, kind of giving me props on stage during the press conference. Right. And I'm just like, cool. So I guess everything's fine. So when I saw him making comments again, I was like, how are you going to apologize for something we've already tried clearing the air about, and then you're going to attack me again for something you've already apologized for? Right. That's where I kind of lost my shit a little bit. And, you know, that's where, you know, I don't respect that. If you're going to apologize for something and me and you have cleared the air, don't come back at me again and start saying the same stuff after you already came to as a man and apologized. For me, that's coward stuff, and I wasn't brought up that way. You know, he has my phone number. He can call me if he has an issue. He doesn't need to make personal statements or, you know, foul statements towards me on somebody else's profile. Like, slide in my DM, text me, do what you want to do if you got something to say to me. But, you know, he has continued to do that. So Sergio is the one that really triggered me, because I've had more things that happened with him in the past that I thought was already squashed. Right. You know, I also mentioned Dexter's name, which I probably shouldn't have brought Dexter, because me and Dexter had our share of issues last year where, you know, I don't even want to dive into the details. I don't think Dexter responded to any of this, and because he probably doesn't want to chime in. I don't know if he has he or has he not. I don't know. But
yeah, what happened with Dexter? I mean, the last person I'd want to feud with on Instagram is Dexter, because Dexter's the best smack talker I've ever seen.
Listen, Dexter was my favorite bodybuilder growing up as a kid. I was Dexter's #1 fan. I'm still a big fan of Physique to this day. He's accomplished so much in the sport. Like you said in your interview, he's a legend. Okay, Dexter, out of nowhere last year, after I made my original interview, I saw a post of him telling people that I was borrowing money to pay my rent. So I was like, I literally picked up my phone. I have his phone number. I texted him. I sent him a screenshot. What the fuck is this about? What are you talking about? Right. And he was like, oh, my homie told me that you were borrowing money, this, and this. I'm like, no. Why would you bring that up? And he went on to say more and more about how I ain't shit, how I'm blah, 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 and I drive a piece of shit car. At the time, I had an M4 and a brand new Tacoma. And I'm like, I don't know why my car is a piece of shit. If my car is a piece of shit, what the rest of these guys are driving, because I'm driving an $80,000 car. Yeah. Then he goes on telling me I'm full of shit, and he was like, wanting to compare bank statements. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? He's like, I've been in the industry forever. You ain't making no bread, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, this is getting out of control. He's like, put your money where your mouth is. So I sent over my bank statements that he asked for. Of course, I blocked out all my information. I showed him what the sales were for. Did you
really send your bank statement to Dexter Jackson?
He's harassing me, man. You know his response was?
What?
I'm glad to see you're making some money.
I have to believe with 2.5 million followers, I'm sure you're making a very good living for yourself. I know you're a good marketer of yourself.
The thing is, David, people got to understand is I've always been like, I've always looked at bodybuilding. I love it, but I've always looked at it as a career. Like I left college. I was studying medicine. I went to UC Davis, and I left bodybuilding because I saw an opportunity for me to do something in the sport. Yeah. But I've always had an idea of how I'm going to figure out how to have a life off of this. Right. I knew it wasn't going to happen on stage. I knew especially the men's physique competitor wasn't going to happen on stage. Yeah. That's why I progressively have tried, you know, branding and building my following and really taking the social media platform seriously, and also trying to do my best to help other guys out and enlighten them. That's where I feel I've rubbed a lot of guys the wrong way. It's just like they don't want my advice, which is fine. I shouldn't give advice where it's not asked, but you know, there's a lot of opportunity for these guys that they're letting go by because they're just naive to what's right in front of them.
Right. Well, some people are just lazy. If you're making such a good living for yourself, which I completely believe you, because I see all the stuff that you do out there with the programs you sell and everything. I know your following is crazy. You definitely did it the right way from a business perspective. Why do you even let these people bother you at all? When people crack jokes you take everything very personally, and I think it comes off as an immature attitude towards this, and I think it rubs people the wrong way, and then people don't like you for the wrong reasons. They don't like you.
Yeah, and it comes down to the fact that a lot of people just don't know me. A lot of people don't know who I am, where I've come from. You guys talked about or poked fun or whatever you guys want to talk about psychologists yesterday and my anger issues or whatnot.
Jeremy, you went nuts. You went crazy. I saw the Instagram stuff.
And let me explain myself. He brought the Perfect Physique movie I did in 2014. When I talk about, one of my biggest problems is controlling my emotions, my anger. It is. So imagine somebody that does have, if you want to call it a mental health issue or whatnot, somebody that has been seeing psychologists and since I was a young kid, on and off antidepressant medication, anxiety medication, whatever you want to call it. Imagine that. Imagine that type of person choosing bodybuilding as a profession and trying to make a career out of it. And the things I got to deal with to be the best in the world, going in and out. And on top of that, dealing with my highs and lows all the time, having everybody all over my business. And then, a lot of this shit, man, I'm talking about, I didn't start it. Like, my original statement was never to hurt anybody when I was talking about the new industry, the new divisions in the Philippines. Right. They got misconstrued. How many captions are Buendia destroys body, or Buendia bashes open bodybuilding. Buendia hates open bodybuilding. I've never once said that. I love open bodybuilding. I was a bodybuilder. I go and watch the sport. I sit front row. I've never once said anything bad about bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding. People are saying, fuck the guys in the guts. I don't care. I love bodybuilding. I love watching it. What I don't like is the disrespect that some of these other guys have where they don't have anything to show for it, but they're going to sit here and trash me. Even the comment about you saying, why would I talk about a legend like Dexter or Sergio Olivia? They're legends in the sport. Yes, Dexter's a legend in the sport, but I've still won more titles than Olympia titles than he has, but that doesn't matter as much because I'm a physique competitor. Not only that, to a worldwide audience, I'm more well known than both those guys combined.
Right. So you would think that knowing that would give you a lot of confidence in yourself, and that you wouldn't have to. You would take the higher road. Yeah,
but I love the industry, man. I love bodybuilding. I've never felt like I was a part of it. I have to go to these shows and walk around alienated, man. Like that's the way I feel. I went to the Arnold, and I'm sitting there watching the classic physique. I had a guy competing, Ricky Moten, who took top 6, my first classic guy I ever coached. Any bodybuilder coaching. He took 6th at the Arnold Classic in a very tough class. Right. I was sitting outside the pit with the camera guys, and all the guys are going and walking up and sitting in the pit. I don't want to look for a pity party. I'm just stating my point of the lack of respect the physique division gets, or maybe it's just me personally. I don't know, but I'm sitting there waiting. Danny Hester sitting there with me, who's a very good friend of mine. Hey, let's go sit in the pit. I'm like, well, I'm not going to just go walk in there. So he grabs Robin Chang. Robin sits him down. He goes, hey, why don't you go grab Jeremy? Well, he walks up. He looks at me and goes, hey, Jeremy. Sees PJ Braun behind me. Grabs PJ, sits PJ down, and leaves me there.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't take offense, Jeremy, because Jay Cutler had to buy tickets to the Olympia. Robin wouldn't give him tickets either. So.
But in regards to that, man, as far as the respect to the division as well, and for my accomplishments, and again, if nobody wants to do it, I had a lot of people don't like me. It's fine. But you can kind of understand where my bitterness comes from. My final Olympia, where I announced my retirement, months before, everybody knew I was going to retire. Yeah, I didn't place top 3 or podium on stage. I got 4th place, but, I didn't get any farewell, no anything like Laksana did, like Flex did. I mean, right. I'm not comparing myself to Flex Lewis. I mean,
no, but you still won 4. You're right. You still won 4 Olympias. I agree. I
didn't get. When Ashley Caldwasser lost her bikini title, she was still invited to the Sunday conference afterwards to say her piece and say goodbye to her fans. I have fans still. Yeah. I wasn't even asked to come to the press conference afterwards on Sunday to say my goodbye, to say what I wanted to say. I'm just like, after all this time of helping build up a division that's now one of the most watched divisions, it's bringing most ticket sales. When's it going to change? Everybody's quiet. The Arnold Classic winner got paid $5,000, the same amount of money that the Flex Model Search winner got paid.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with respect to that. I don't think the men's physique guys are getting the respect they deserve. Neither the Classic, for that matter. The prize money's not there. I just think that they're not, they're being still relegated as a sideshow, and I agree with that. Now, you mentioned very briefly just before, and I think this is an important topic because I think you're right. I think a lot of people misunderstand you. And maybe I misunderstood you. People wanted to know where this motivation came, where you got so angry and aggressive. And you mentioned that you did growing up, you did have some issues with that. Can you go into that in a little more detail?
It is. It's something that I've always battled. It's something I've always seeked help with. I'm very short-tempered, and I think everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm. Not everyone knows it. They might see it, but where does that?
A lot of people see that from me, but at the same time, I'm probably, you get to know me, I'm one of the most giving, most loving people you're ever gonna meet. It's just when you rub me the wrong way and I get triggered about something, I don't handle it the best way. That's always been my biggest mistake, and that's why I'm sitting here calmly right now, because I've had time to calm down and collect myself and recollect everything that's happened, and really dive it back and analyze. I'm a very smart individual, man. I have my biggest problem is I'm very impulsive. If I were to take a step back and have handled the situation a lot differently, I feel it wouldn't have blown up the way it would have blown up, and I would have been able to get my point across a lot better. A lot of people don't like me because I'm impulsive, and I take that in my own that's my fault. It's my fault. And as I'm getting older, you know, I can't use my age as an excuse anymore. I'm not a kid anymore.
Sure.
I'm almost going to be 29. And that's something I'm taking responsibility for. And, you know, I do owe a lot of these guys an apology for coming out and as aggressively as I did and calling them broke bodybuilders. Like, I don't want to, I'm sorry because, you know, if that's the case, I feel for you guys. And, you know, there's opportunities outside of it that it doesn't have to be that way. And that's the one thing I know these guys work so fucking hard in the gym that, you know, if they were to apply themselves outside the gym the way they do on the inside of the gym, like I was just telling one of my athletes, they can make a really good life for themselves. And that's what the really cool thing is. You know, the handful of guys that I do coach that are pros, I'm seeing them grow because, you know, I've been able to let them know. I have them come out and I show them, you know, I'm in the gym training my ass off, but I'm not home just chilling. Like, I'm on the computer, I'm doing things, I'm scheduling, figuring out my next move all the time.
Right. And that's smart business-wise. Absolutely.
But the thing is everybody, there's so much out there for everybody to do it that, you know, they got to take advantage of the platform, you know, because you know damn well, like, you know, the only way for us to be successful is going to be off the stage as well nowadays.
Well, I have to also imagine that your success in this bodybuilding world, I mean, you were the best in the world at what you did. It doesn't matter. It could have been, you know, peeling peanuts, but, you know, to be the best in anything in the world at anything is a monumental achievement. And obviously you had some handicaps in the sense that, you know, emotionally you've been battling, you know, a lot of demons, you know, your whole life. So, I mean, that in and of itself should be motivating to people. And I think that, you know, when you open up to people more about that, I think they have a better understanding of where you're coming from and they can relate to it. Because I'm sure you're not the only one in bodybuilding who's had to deal with stuff like this.
No, not at all. You know, the thing is the platform nowadays is a lot bigger than it ever has been. There's more eyes on us than there ever has been before. And, you know, it's tough when, you know, people within your sport or industry of bodybuilding want to start taking the direction of going into your personal life and trying to affect you in other ways. That's what kind of frustrates me, especially the people that I see on a daily basis that are just, you know, business, what's the word I'm looking for? Associates or people I'm just around, acquaintances. You know, they have no right to chime in on my personal life and do those things. And we have a life outside of this, you know, and unfortunately social media, you know, I do allow people inside my life a lot with what I post, but there's still other things that other people go digging for that doesn't even be dug for.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to ask you this because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be doing my job. But Antoine showed me some text messages you had sent him or private messages where you were casting some I don't know if you want to call it gay aspersions at him. What was that about?
So I mean, I don't want to bring any more light to the situation in regards to what I was told, but, you know, because regardless if it's true or not, like I should never have said anything, you know.
So you're sorry for that.
It was a mistake, and I was very angry, and, you know, I was seeing personal shots being posted, and when I saw Antoine allowing these comments to start building up about me, I took it more personal as him taking it personal against me. Mm-hmm. So, you know, my initial reaction was to try to take a personal shot at him, try to embarrass him a little bit. And I've heard some stuff, and, you know, I made a post. I'm no homophobe. I made a post yesterday because I was getting called a homophobe. Like, that's the farthest thing I am from. One of my best friends is gay. I was the best man at his wedding. Like, that's not it. Right. I don't know Antoine. I don't know what his sexuality is, or whatever, and none of my business. But I do owe him an apology for that, and I'm sorry because it's just out of line. Okay, well,
as long as you apologize, I mean, I'm sure he'll take that because Antoine is a pretty forgiving person.
Me and Antoine are just have a phone call later on today. After I saw his interview, that was the first time I ever seen him speak, and I was like, "Fuck, I probably like this guy." Like, I actually talked to him.
You never say that you have a friend that's gay or a friend that's black because that's the worst way to justify that you're not a racist, you're not a homophobe. That people hate that when you do that. But I understand where you're coming from. You were heated up. You said something you shouldn't say, and at least you are admitting that you were wrong.
It didn't come from a homophobic place at all. I mean, I was coming from me talking shit as a guy to another straight guy, assuming. It was an assumption I shouldn't have made. I don't know. It was just, a guy talking shit, you know? It was just,
If you,
that doesn't matter to me. I mean, it was just me trying to run my mouth to him. It was stupid. It was immature. And it was something that I realized I shouldn't have said. That's why I took it down real quick. And then people wanted to bring more light to it again. I was like, fuck.
If you learned anything from this whole situation and you had to give advice to guys that are coming up and possibly watching this interview right now, hey, you know what? I'm 4-time Olympia champ. I am very impulsive. I act sometimes before I think. What advice could you give to these young guys coming up if they happen to be lucky enough to get into your situation someday?
It's a lot of pressure to deal with, you know, and it's you have to really think before you talk. And my mouth's gotten me in trouble more than once in my career, and you know, it's something that you got to be very careful of. And a lot of people that are in the spotlight, they deal with a lot of pressure on the outside that a lot of people won't understand. And until you really get there, the pressure, you know, is something that you kind of deal with on your own. And it's hard to get advice from other people because they don't really know what you're feeling. And my best advice to anybody that could potentially be in my spot is to really just try to take a step back and take what people say with a grain of salt. Because at the end of the day, social media is very short-lived and people forget about things really quickly. And, you know, like I said, hopefully after this, you know, I'll be able to clear the air with some of these guys, let it die out. I know I'm not going to win everybody over, that's for sure.
Not everyone's going to win.
Some people are going to be hating me, but from, you know, for what it's worth, I want to see this organization continue to grow. I want to see men's physique, class physique, bodybuilding come together. I would love to see the sport continue to grow as it is with all the divisions. I don't want to see any of the divisions die out. And in order for that to happen, you know, we all got to be supporting each other. And as far as the bodybuilding goes, you know, these guys, I feel a lot of these guys really need to start tapping into to help sustain the industry, sustain the sport. They really need to start, you know, investing into what is being followed nowadays. Right. You know, people want to see what they're doing. They, you know, the physique guys have done a good job of being able to incorporate not just physique guys, classic guys, and some bodybuilders have been able to do a good job of being able to show more than just the stage. And that's what the general audience wants to see. And that's what's going to keep the bodybuilding sport, the division, alive and growing and popular.
Now I got to ask you before I let you go, I got to ask you about one more person because I interviewed him yesterday. The interview hasn't gone up. You probably won't like some of it, I'm sure. But this Kenny KO guy on social media, what was the story with him? What happened with him?
You guys already know the story of Kenny. He just talks shit about everybody. And he's bringing up stuff that's very personal that shouldn't be talked about online. And, you know, I'm not really at liberty much right now. I'm in a lawsuit with the guy. Yeah, you're going to see here. The thing is, we tried talking to him the first time. He wanted a rebuttal video from us. We sent a rebuttal video from us. He chopped it up, edited it up, mixed it up, made me look like a fucking asshole. Mm-hmm. So, and then he continues to post and post and post. We tried sending him saying, hey, here's this, here's the video. Clear things over, end the story. He went behind our backs, messed it all up. So we ended up filing a suit because he just wouldn't stop talking. He wanted to keep running his mouth. How much can you handle somebody saying stuff that's accusing you of legal things over and over and over again that aren't true? Mm-hmm. So for me, I have businesses, I have partners. Right. It affects our brands, it affects our companies. I have a clothing brand that is half our sales are to women. Right. You know, a lot of people don't understand. I own a clothing company, and majority of our fall it's 50-50, women and men. Right. I sell just as much women clothing. And when somebody's sitting here saying these things about me that are blowing things way out of proportion, saying I've put women in the hospital or I've hit a woman, it's absolutely absurd because it's never happened. Right. You know, my relationships have obviously been public and haven't been the best, but some of those things that have been said are absolutely absurd. And for somebody to bring light to that over and over and over again, I'm not going to stand for it. And the fact of the matter is, you know, I'm at a point in my career right now I got to handle things from a legal standpoint to protect my entities.
Well, you know, I always believe that too. You know, when people break up in relationships, there's always someone who's not happy about the relationship, and so you have to take that with a grain of salt sometimes because the person might be angry and they might want to just try to ruin the other person. And I think that you have to understand that. But you know, social media, people want to just pick up on whatever the negativity is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw what happened with my ex, who she started dating. She put that all out there, and I have to go walk around seeing that. And the next thing you know, she's downstairs 3 days ago begging at my door. you know? And I'm all these things that she said on social media, but yet she's downstairs begging for me back at 2:30 a.m. I'm having security tell her to leave. You know? It's not, there's two sides to every story. So it's like I haven't been able to say what I needed to say.
Do you feel a sense of relief now that you're not competing anymore? Because I know there's got to be a tremendous amount of pressure when you're in that Olympia seat and everyone's gunning for your title and everyone's looking for a chink in the armor, a weakness that they could exploit. Now it's kind of like you're out of that competitive realm. Does it feel like, you know what, maybe I could take a deep breath now?
A little bit, because I feel like I've done what I've set out to do as far as of setting myself for post career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm able to, that was always the biggest concern was, you know, without the Olympia title, would I still be relevant? Would I be able to sustain myself? You know, are sponsors still going to be around? Well, I don't have sponsors anymore. You know, I don't have to have that. I have my businesses. I don't have to be the champion anymore to be Jeremy Buendia. And that's where I feel that the pressure is off, is that I've earned my spot amongst my fans and followers, that they respect what I've accomplished, and now they see I'm going a different chapter of my life. And that is, you know, I'm helping a lot of guys. I'm coaching almost 200 athletes right now. I have a lot of pros. I'm working with these guys hands-on. Like, I'm not just selling them generic programs. Like, I'm in front of my computer. You know, I have 5 guys competing this weekend. I have one of my pros that's doing, he's 2 weeks out from a show in Florida. You know, I love this sport. I love helping people, and I know the potential of how successful they can come if they do it right. And
now you're only 29 years old, as you said earlier. You still look great. I mean, what are you going to do if that competitive itch comes back? Do you ever see yourself maybe even trying to compete again? I mean, I know it doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint, but sometimes from an emotional standpoint, you just miss it. And it's not like you're an old guy. You know, you're still really young.
Yeah, I plan on getting it. I'm actually getting back in shape. I plan on doing shoots this summer. You know, I want to see as much content as possible.
Yeah.
As far as getting on the stage right now, it's not something that I have in mind. I'm retired. I don't really feel. And plus, I feel like the division's going a little bit different direction right now than where my physique is. The guys are getting a lot bigger. I don't necessarily want to be that big. I mean, Ray. I mean, they're just big. I mean, look at Logan right after.
Is it too big, you think?
Did you see Logan standing next to Steve Laureus after the photo after the
He's bigger. He's bigger than him, yeah.
I mean, one of the guys that was competing at Ash Dappers, like I saw him 2 days out at Powerhouse, and he's working out next to my classic guy, and I was like, that guy's big. And then he saw him took off his shirt, he started posing. I'm like, whoa, you're doing men's physique? He's like, yeah. I was like, how much do you weigh? Like 238.
Wow, holy mackerel! Yeah.
How tall are you? 5'11". I'm like, what? What?
Jeremy, should they make weight restrictions like with Classic for your height in men's physique now?
There's going to be a shift again, man. There has to be. I mean, it's the industry shift has been shifting constantly. I think there's going to be another shift. I think there's probably. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody. I really about it, so I don't know.
What would you like to see done? Since you're you're one of the guys.
I think there should be like. I think there should be like a muscular physique and then not a muscular physique. I think there should be some height classes. I see there's a kid, Kevin Wynn, I think his name is, goes by I'm Swole on Instagram, an awesome poser, he's a little guy. He did the Arnold. He looked awesome, but he stood between like Raymond and like somebody else. They're like 6'4". He's like 5'3".
Right. He's
got a phenomenal physique on him. He's got a great pair of wheels on him. The guy's amazing, but he's going to get overlooked every single time because he's so little.
Right.
There should be another division for guys that are under 5'6" or something.
So you want to see height classes in the pros?
I think it should. I mean, you send Raymond next to a guy that's 5'3". It's not. You can't compare the two physiques.
Right. Right. Even Raymond versus Andre Ferguson is a tough comparison because the height difference.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I stood next to Ray too, and I mean, I came up to his freaking belly button. But in all honesty, man, I'm glad I was able to do this interview with you guys. To anybody I rubbed the wrong way, as I'm sure I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I apologize for that. All I want to see is the industry grow. Antoine, I owe you an apology for singling you out and making some of the remarks that I made. As far as the rest of the bodybuilders, you guys, I don't want this award to continue. I don't want to feel like an enemy to you guys. I want to be somebody that can help provide value to the industry, provide value to you guys. I don't want to continue to flaunt what I have or talk about finances or whatnot. It's not what my goal was. It was me being defensive off of the fact that I felt that it was a personal shot I need to cover my ass on. You won't hear any more of that about me. I'm going to do my best to try to be as cautious and selective with my words as possible and not be as impulsive, because I know that I have a lot of people in the industry watching me, and I want to be a good example and continue to see this industry grow. And, you know, I love this sport, and I don't ever want to not be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that I believe you. I do believe that you're sorry about that. And you know what? Someone once told me, Jeremy, it's the 48-hour rule. Don't respond to any comments that anyone makes about you for 48 hours. If after 48 hours you still want to respond, then you know it's a valid response. That always worked for me very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and being so honest with us. I appreciate that.
Definitely, man. Well, I
and
appreciate
hopefully we have no beef between each other anymore as well.
No, we're good, man. So hopefully we get back on here and talk about something else very soon. Something more positive.
Sounds good, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Jeremy, be good. All right, and guys, that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.